Welcome to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit, where today we're tracking a major policy U-turn. Back in early 2025, President Donald Trump boasted that America could stand alone, free from reliance on foreign goods. Fast forward, and that pledge has stalled. A new executive order quietly cuts tariffs on critical imports, nickel, graphite, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, admitting domestic production simply can't keep pace. For automakers, whose supply chains stretch across continents, this reversal isn't abstract. It's survival. Which goods made the exemption list? Who benefits? And how will it reshape car prices and global trade? Let's dive in. The tariff reversal. What's really changed? In a dramatic shift, President Trump has abandoned his hardline tariff stance, signing an executive order that slashes duties on dozens of essential imports. Just months ago, he promised America could thrive without foreign goods, but reality has forced a different tune. For the first time in his second term, the administration admits the U.S. cannot meet its demand for critical resources alone. The order exempts more than 45 categories of goods from earlier levies, including nickel, gold, natural graphite, pharmaceutical compounds, and key industrial chemicals. Even LEDs and specialized magnets, vital for EV batteries and renewable energy, are on the list. Yet these breaks aren't free. Only aligned partners willing to strike reciprocal deals will benefit. Nations like Japan and the EU are first in line. For automakers, this isn't a policy footnote. It's survival. Cars can't roll off assembly lines without these materials, underscoring how quickly political slogans bend to industrial realities. And if that sounds like a policy reversal, wait until you see how dependent the U.S. actually is on global resources. Import reliance and raw material gaps. The foundation of Trump's tariff shift is America's unavoidable dependence on imported raw materials. The U.S. consumes vast quantities of minerals and metals it simply cannot supply domestically, leaving key industries vulnerable. Nowhere is this more evident than in the auto sector, where electrification demands resources America lacks. Graphite, the heart of EV batteries, is a prime example. In 2024, the U.S. used 52,000 tons, yet produced none. China not only supplies the bulk, but also controls over 90% of global processing, meaning even non-Chinese graphite often passes through its plants before reaching American manufacturers. Nickel tells a similar story. Despite some domestic recycling and a lone Michigan mine, most supply comes from allies like Canada and Australia, with processing again done abroad. Even U.S.-mined gold and aluminum fall short of national demand, requiring imports from Brazil, Jamaica, and others. For automakers, these gaps mean rising costs and uncertainty. Tariffs may shift, but dependence remains America's industrial Achilles heel. Before we shift gears further, hit that like and subscribe button. It fuels us to keep bringing you the latest insights for gearheads and policy buffs alike. Now let's move from supply chains to the automakers themselves, because they're the ones carrying the heaviest load. Automakers buckling under tariff pressure. No industry feels tariff turbulence more than automakers. From Detroit's Big Three to international brands with U.S. plants, the cost of building cars has been shaken to the core. Vehicles depend on thousands of parts that often cross borders multiple times, so when tariffs stack up, costs snowball. This year, auto tariffs jumped to 25%, while steel and aluminum levies surged to 50%. Analysts estimate these measures will saddle U.S. automakers with $108 billion in extra costs in 2025. That's roughly $5,000 added to every American-built car and over $8,500 on imported models. Devastating figures in a razor-thin margin industry. So far, many car makers have absorbed the pain, trimming profits, adjusting trims, and tucking fees into the fine print rather than shocking consumers. But the strategy can't hold. Prices will rise, especially for luxury and EVs reliant on foreign parts. Executives remain split. Some see relief in Trump's exemptions, while others warn that constant policy swings paralyze long-term planning. And while automakers feel the immediate squeeze, the global chessboard of trade partners shows us who really wins and loses. Partners, deals, and reciprocal trade. Trump's executive order makes one thing clear: tariff exemptions are leverage, not giveaways. Only aligned partners willing to make reciprocal concessions qualify, sparking a wave of trade activity as countries race to secure favorable terms before their industries are sidelined. For automakers, these agreements can mean the difference between competitive pricing or being shut out of the US market. The European Union and Japan moved quickly, cutting deals that reduced auto tariffs to roughly 15%. South Korea followed, winning relief on vehicles while pledging new US investment. India, once slapped with a 50% penalty for Russian oil ties, may soon see duties fall to 10 to 15%. Taiwan, too, reports progress as it pushes for relief from its 20% tariff. This patchwork approach rewards those at the table but breeds uncertainty. For global automakers planning years ahead, unpredictable tariffs turn long-term strategy into a gamble, leaving the industry navigating an unstable trade landscape. But even beyond international negotiations, these shifts trickle down to the one group that feels it most directly: consumers. Consumers, costs, and what lies ahead. In the end, every tariff tweak lands in two places: automakers' balance sheets and consumers' wallets. Duties on metals and parts drive vehicle costs higher, and while carmakers have absorbed much of the hit so far, the pressure is mounting. With interest rates already squeezing buyers, added tariff costs risk pushing many models out of reach. Without timely exemptions, shoppers could face higher prices, fewer choices, and longer wait times. Automakers are experimenting with solutions, expanding US plants, exploring recycling or diversifying sourcing. But these fixes take years. The industry's global supply chains, built over decades, cannot be rewired overnight. Tariffs also politicize the showroom. A German sedan, Japanese hybrid, or American truck with imported parts may soon carry very different price tags depending on trade negotiations. And with new Section 232 probes looming over goods from polysilicon to wind turbines, uncertainty will only grow. The tariff U-turn may provide breathing room, but the road ahead remains unpredictable. And with all these moving parts, what's the big picture verdict for automakers and drivers alike? Verdict: imports, incentives, and the price of performance. This tariff reversal doesn't wipe away the past year's turbulence. It reframes it. Washington has admitted that modern manufacturing, especially autos, runs on a lifeline of imported materials. Exemptions may ease the chokehold, but until deals solidify and domestic refining scales up, the industry runs on fragile ground. Showrooms will split. Cars tied to privileged supply chains will stabilize, while those dependent on penalized inputs remain volatile. For consumers, three dials will define the future: where the parts are sourced, what deals get locked in, and how quickly domestic infrastructure grows. If the dials swing the right way, prices cool and options expand. If not, trims vanish, waitlists return, and market adjustments creep back in. The winners will be brands that can balance torque under the hood with torque at the negotiating table. So what do you think? Do these shifting tariffs give American automakers breathing room, or just kick the can down the road? Will consumers swallow higher prices, or will demand stall out in a cooling economy? And do you believe global partners will keep playing along, or are trade wars about to hit another gear? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear how you see this playing out. And don't forget, subscribe to Piston Pundit to stay tuned for the latest vehicle updates, industry insights, and the twists and turns of the global auto market. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's more exciting and informative content waiting for you.